This video is all going to be about living up to your potential. The reason why I'm sharing this is I've genuinely just walked in from an amazing chat with a client of mine who has got this huge potential, but he wasn't quite being able to tap into it. Now, a lot of this comes down to the fact that you're not living up to your purpose and potential, and you're not seeing the opportunity that you've got in front of you and the reason why you need to do it. And so many people will build the comfort around them that stops them from doing that. They'll find every excuse, every reason. Maybe you are too comfortable. Maybe you've got this safe environment around you and no real need to risk anything. And the biggest reason why that is the thing that's holding you back is you've got no reason to change. You've got no reason to grow. But the reason why you're so frustrated and stuck and feeling like you're not moving anywhere is that your body's telling you that you're able to do more. You have this comfort, but it's not getting the best out of you. You're poodling along through life, and sure, things might be great, but something inside of you just is telling you that there is more. And it was amazing having this chat with him and opening up into the fact that he knew he could do something, but there was nothing triggering him to take that bigger leap and that bigger action. And so hopefully some of the frameworks, conversations that I can have with you today might help you break through some barriers, like achieve more, open up and just actually like get yourself to do more with yourself. One of the biggest and best frameworks that I've ever put in place for myself was to think about if in 10, 20 years time, right, I've got my little son Dylan and Lila, right? If they come up to me and were struggling with something, I want to be the person that they come to in that moment asking for advice. I want them to feel safe talking to me. I want them to feel able to talk to me, and I want them to see me as the person they can come to be able to achieve more, better, bigger, safer, whatever it is. If I hadn't put myself through the struggles that I've gone through, if I hadn't have faced the adversity, if I hadn't have become someone that was able to do those things, how on earth am I going to be able to say with confidence and clarity and authority what to do next? Maybe you've come into a world where you don't really need to panic and worry and everything's kind of okay, yet you're still not really living your fullest life. Maybe you've come from adversity and you've never really had that person around you to push you to achieve more. So I said to the client I was talking to is, I want you to picture sitting in front of your son or daughter, whoever they are, right? He hasn't got kids yet. And I said, what's that question? What's that thing that you want your parent to say to you that you're going to say to your child? And how can you say that to them with authenticity, with confidence, unless you've gone through it yourself? What's that vision that you wanted your parents to see of you? What's that thing that you wanted them to say to you? And how can you build it so that you can say it to them? And I know I've repeated myself there, but I want you to really get that in your head. There is no way in hell that I am letting myself not be good enough for my children. When my clients need someone that can talk to them honestly, and it's not me saying that you need to be better or do differently, it's about me unlocking that potential inside of them. Because I figured out what my purpose is. My purpose is here to help people achieve that. It's not that I'm big-headed and think I'm something special. It's the fact that I didn't have that when I was younger. I didn't have that capability, and I didn't have that possibility because nobody enabled me to see it. And I hadn't enabled myself to see it. I was living in a comfort zone. I didn't really think about earning more money or having any of these things. I didn't really think I needed it. And it wasn't that I needed the money. What I actually needed is the person that I've become through the challenges that I've faced. So you may be sitting there thinking, you know, what direction do I take this in? That the business isn't quite fulfilling me. Do I really want to do this? And asking all these questions. And that's really quite natural because you're trying to figure out what's that question, what's that answer, what's that thing that I'm trying to move forward with and achieve. Why am I here? What am I doing? And, you know, figuring yourself out. So I want you to ask yourself these questions. I'm sitting on my deathbed. I'm 90, 100 years of age. And I watched the video of my life as it was. And just remembering all the things that I knew happened. And then someone came up to me with a video that was everything that I would have had and could have had if I'd taken all those barriers and problems out of the way. What would that video look like? How would that video feel to watch that was you, that the life you could have had? And now what is it that you need to get rid of in order to live that life? So that's the first question. And ponder away with this. If you need to pause it, sit down and work it out. Okay. The second question is, who were you? This is kind of like 4 questions in one question, but you'll get the point here. Who were you? Who have you become? Who do you need to be going forward? And what's the cost if you don't? Because in those questions, you'll answer where you've come from, what you've created, who you want to be for the future, who you need to be, figuring out, like, if you're going to have kids, if you're going to build businesses, whatever you're going to do, what is it that you need so that you understand it so you can build that? And then if I don't do those things, am I happy with that life? Am I going to feel happy that I've created this and didn't live my full potential? Am I going to let people down? What's the cost if I don't? That will really open your eyes up to just what you want and who you want to be, and it will really throw you some curveballs. And the third question that I want you to ask is, as you're showing up today, what is the identity of the person that you're showing up as? And what's the identity of the person you would like to show up as? How would you like to be seen? How would you like people to think about you, talk about you when you're not there? When they see you walking across the other side of the street, what do they think of you? How do they remember you? Are you building something? Are you creating something? Are you leaving a legacy? Are you leaving a standpoint in this world? Think about the identity you show up as, and think about the identity of who you'd like to be. Because within those questions, you're going to figure out how you want to show up every day, how you want people to think of you, and what you would need to do for them to think of you like that. If you don't achieve those things, what you think of yourself. If you do achieve those things, what can you give to your family, to your loved ones, to your children, whatever. And then the first question is just, what would it be like to look back at that life that you've lived and see the potential and see everything that you did and built from living that life without barriers and restrictions? That might sound like a real deep dive into your brain. But right in all of those questions is exactly where you grow. It's exactly where you become the person you've always been destined to be. It's where you realize your potential, and it gives you that lease of life, that energy. If you've ever lost your purpose, your identity, if you've ever gone through a spell of not feeling yourself, my ADHD stuff goes through the roof when I haven't got clarity and so on. Like, I just end up like scatty as hell. I'm great when I've got clarity and I'm moving in the right direction. If I haven't got it, I'm just trying lots of different things and not really sure what's going on. And you have to keep biting and fighting through those stages of like, what's going to taste is what's going to go through it, what happens, what works, what doesn't. And you'll make loads of mistakes in the journey, and that's not a problem. But I'd rather you make 1,000 mistakes than make the one right choice, which then leads on to something life-changing, and leaving that legacy and building something of your purpose to build that thing and get to that point, than you trying a few things, failing, thinking this is hard. Because then you're just meeting everyone else that tried something, it didn't really work out, and you just kind of live an okay life. And it's only the fact that inside of yourself, you will know that you've lived that life. And sure, you won't beat yourself up about it, or maybe you will, but you'll get to the end of your days and go, could have done so much more if I just didn't do this. I could have had so much more. I could have been so much more. I could have done so many more things if I just didn't do this. That is the cost if you don't think about how you can show up, how you can be that leader, how you can be the authority. I think from my experience of working with so many coaches, so many business owners, and just obviously seeing so many people doing photo shoots, is that people show up with an identity, and all they're really looking for is someone to give them access to that version of themselves, someone to ask them the questions that they didn't need to know in order to get to somewhere. So I'm trying to do that today, without you being in front of me telling me where you're struggling, what you're going through, what you need to know. But in these conversations that you have with people, and if you aren't having them, if you haven't got people around you forcing you to do more, you need to find different rooms to be in. Because I've been in and out of different rooms, and the conversations that you have in those environments, in those rooms, are life-changing. A very simple question I got asked, and this is going to sound like horrible, but it really helped, is if you held a weapon to someone's head that you love, and you said in 6 months' time, they're no longer going to be here unless you achieve X, just think about how much you would get done. Think about how much you would achieve in that time just to make sure that they didn't die on your watch. Okay? So a lot of this comes down to, if you don't know your purpose, you need to spend the time thinking about what is your purpose in life? What are you here to achieve? Mine is to give people opportunities to a life that they didn't know they could live. However that is, through content, through my words, through events, whatever. As long as it aligns with that, that's fine. The second point is you need deadlines. You need deadlines to achieve things. If I haven't got deadlines, if I haven't set things in place, if I don't force myself to do these things, I will never achieve that bigger vision of myself and like achieve all those things that I want to achieve. So I have to set deadlines in order to do that. And sometimes you can put things in your diary and you miss them. And sometimes they're not just that important. But the important things, the things that are showing up for yourself, the things that building these things and creating stuff, they're the deadlines you need in place to be able to make transitional changes. You need a vision for what you're going to achieve over the next 5 years. What are you going to go on and do? What do you want to achieve in a year's time, 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 5 years' time? I wouldn't go too much further than that because I don't think people can see that far ahead. But if you know that you're going to buy the house, if you're going to have children, if you're going to get the business to this point, if you want to travel the world, you want to buy certain cars, whatever it is, if you don't have a clear vision of what you're trying to achieve and what you need to do to achieve that and what the impact of that's going to be for everyone else around you, you're never going to achieve all these things. So once you get clarity in your mission in life, what's your purpose? What's your life mission to achieve? What deadlines are you going to set to achieve them by? Because what are your goals and ambitions to achieve? And once you figure all those things out and you've asked yourself the questions about your identity, your purpose, and like how you want to show up and what's the cost if you don't, you'll be very clear on what you want to create. Now, I want you to think about this because obviously I've done a massive deep dive here and I've probably thrown a lot at you in the last 11 minutes, right? Think about this from a content perspective now, is that if you now go to show up as that leader, as the authority, as the clarity, as the person that can solve all these problems, how much easier is it to create the content compared to the person that's scattered, no idea, no knowledge, and just throwing things out there? So much easier. Is it easy to have more confidence and talk with more authority? Of course it is, because you know where you're going. You know what you're doing. And especially for men, if we haven't got like clarity in our purpose and our mission in life, we're all over the place. We're not attractive, we're not confident, we don't feel the best, and we make poor decisions. Women, it depends on what your like needs are and wants of life, whether you want to run a business, have a bigger purpose, or whether you want to just be the family and stuff, which is absolutely fine and that's absolutely okay. You just got to work out what you really want. For most men, sometimes they want to be a house husband, they want to sit at home. You've got to figure out what you really want. But in this mission that you're going on to achieve this thing, if you haven't got that clarity, you haven't got that purpose, if you're going to be creating social media content, if you're going to do what I do and just turn the camera on and talk, I've got any script, I haven't rehearsed any of this, so I probably am a little bit scattered and I'm definitely fired up and using caffeine today. But the whole point of this is that if you don't know what you're doing and you're not able to show it that person, of course your content's going to be more difficult. Of course you're going to find it more like hard to actually show up, to think of ideas, to be creative, to talk on camera well, to like highlight yourself like what you want to do. You see, it's not about having hard challenges. It's about who you want to be when you get through those hard challenges and how you're going to show that to people on social media to show that you are the person that's in control. You are the person that has the business that's going to fix the problems and give people a solution and an experience that they want to invest in. And also what that creates for your future. Because if you're really clear on those things, making content is easy. You've got ideas, you've got understand the experience of the client, you've got clarity in who you need to be and how you need to show up. You'll wear the clothes, you'll talk in a certain way, you'll be able to slow down and talk with authenticity. If you need to deliver that power and that stronger message, you're there. If you need to be more in touch with the delicate nature of certain things, you can do that because you understand it, because you've been there, you've done it, and you understand why it's so important. So many people want to build a business and create all this stuff, and then they get stuck. And they're forgetting that the important part is like, why is this important to me? Because the second you figure that out, the second you realize what all of this does for you, not just gives you the money to pay the bills and puts a bit of food on the table, it allows you to step into a person that you've always wanted to be, to change your lifestyle, to change your family history. You know, I come from a background of not having the most confident parents, and I'm not shitting on them here, like they're not the most like outwardly like confident, but they're loving, they're kind, they're hardworking, they're caring. But what I wanted to do was take all of that and build something where I could still have that love and that care and support, but get people to step into a version of themselves where they can achieve more, they can not worry about those things and actually do those things that they want to do in their life. That's why I don't find it difficult to do these things. That's why I'm quite full of energy right now, and I could probably do another hour of doing this. Because I've got myself to a place where I know what I want, I know who I am, I know what I'm achieving, I know what I want to be, I know how I can help people, and I do it every day. Being in front of people gives me energy. It allows me to express myself and force people and support them on that journey. Creating that environment was what I needed to understand. What do they need? What do they want? How do they want to be seen? What values do they want to take away from this? What do they need physically? What do they need emotionally? If I figure all that stuff out, it's then far easier to create this. So don't be scared of doing the deeper work, because you might find an hour or two of deeper work and figuring a lot of these things out, and whether you're pausing this and writing these notes down or whatever you're doing, you may walk away from this, and even listening to this in the car, you may be sitting there driving right now going, wow, actually, this makes a lot of sense. And if I do this, I can achieve this. Wow. And all of a sudden, you're going somewhere and you're going to talk to someone today, and you'll talk to them in a massively different way. You'll have a greater impact on their life just from being unbelievably clear on what you want. So if you are battling away with this at the moment, it all feels a bit heavy, I want you to take that heaviness and get yourself through it. Don't avoid it like you've done in the past. Sit down and go, what do I want? What do I want to create? What do I think I'm capable of doing? What can I do? How can I create this? You know, most people go, oh, 10K a month, that'd be amazing. If you're a fitness coach, let's say, for example, you're charging $250 a month, that's 40 people around the world. It's not actually that many people. If you've got a product that you sell for £100, okay, well, we need to sell 1,000 of them. How do we do that? How do we find these people that want to pay that? If you're a heating engineer, you know you need to get boilers, done because they're the most profitable. Now you've figured out what profit it brings you because you've sat down and done the hard work and why it's important for you to do those. Now you can go and create that because you'll understand it better, you'll be clearer with it. And that's when marketing becomes easy. Then you can have fun with it. You can actually start expressing yourself more. Instead of sitting here reading a rigid script, feeling like you can't express yourself, you get it. You understand the benefits of this. If I was a female fitness coach now going, ladies, I know how it feels to wake up not feeling confident in your own skin, not feeling safe, and not being able to express yourself. You don't feel heard, you don't feel seen, and quite frankly, you don't want people to see or hear you. So how can you change that? Show up for yourself daily. Get your calories right. Don't comfort eat, don't do those things. Eat the right things that fuel you and give you the body that you want. Train 3 to 4 times a week with that fear, that fuel as the reason why you push through and train hard. And then show up for yourself by meaning getting the steps done, put yourself in the right environment and push yourself to grow. Force yourself to be in uncomfortable situations to grow. From doing those things, you'll have the body, the brains, and the lifestyle that you've always been looking for. I can step in and just be a female fitness coach there and then. If I wanted to sell boilers, I can say, what's the cost of you not having your boiler working? That boiler that's been banging and clattering away for 10 years that you said, I'll get it fixed one day. Isn't today the day? What if you wake up tomorrow, the house is warm, you're no longer hearing the banging and clattering, you know that you've got a more efficient boiler that's actually cheaper to run, and the fact is, your kids have a hot bath, you can run the taps and know that you've got water there, and the house is safe. Or you can put up the banging and clattering, and when the boiler does pack in, which it will do, you're going to be the one paying the double the rates because you have to get the emergency call out instead of getting it done properly. So if you're ready to get your boiler changed and installed and have that safety and security in your house to provide your family with what they need, comment boilers below. Done. See, once you've got that clarity on what you're doing, you can deliver it in a way. Now, sure, like that's just a rough cut and that's just me just spitballing lines today, right? Not some fucking lyrical MC. But you get the point. You can step into that identity. You can step into that person because it doesn't matter what the subject is now. You can turn yourself to those things because you know what you're talking about. You know what you're delivering. You know what people need to hear. So I realise I've just like smashed that into your face for the last 18, 19 minutes. I hope that's been massively insightful for you. I hope that if you're trying to look and show up with that confidence, clarity, that purpose, and know what you want to do and achieve with your business, that you've got it from this episode. Like I said, if you found this useful, please just send me a message. Let me know what you found useful. If I can help you with anything, obviously, I'd love to be able to work with you. But the main thing is that you take away today that find your purpose, find your clarity, find why you want to do all these things, and build the business around that.